Alright, so I spared you the boredom of watching me do all of that stuff that I was talking about, so I used the bent part of the blade and I welded it in, and then it's quite a big fat weld too, both sides, and basically just got this to the distance that I wanted and welded it in, made sure it was fairly square. You can see it's square against the back there. The in the middle bit's just sort of bits and pieces that I added, but other side, this wire, this cooling wire was slightly narrower, so I had to add one of these to give it the right height, but it's definitely springy, and that's quite strong too, and I'm quite happy with that. It's turned out better than I thought, so very nice. So if you stand back, looking good. A little bit, how's it going there, but I don't think that's going to matter. A little bit extra foam in there, that'll hide that. But this seems to work really well. So I've tied them both together. I had them separate, and that was really cool. I like that, but I just thought maybe it might be a better idea to tie them both together. I was just going to weld a piece through the center, but that'd be hard, as in it wouldn't have any spring. So, and the backrest, like the actual seat cover that I'm going to make, might sort of tear in that area, so I didn't want to risk that. But yeah, it looks good. Moving forward now, I'll give it a quick coat of just flat black paint just to sort of tidy it up a little bit. And it's made in the USA. You can't quite read it anymore, but it does say made in the USA. If the camera will focus. Right. Anyway, bring it back. Alright, so I'm at the point now where I'm going to I got these Hessian bags late yesterday afternoon, so I couldn't do them yesterday. So now I'm going to basically stitch them in and over this, and I've just made myself up a quick hook needle just out of a bit of wire, and I've just got a bale of twine here, so I'll just get at it. I'll bring you back. And the idea is just to basically stop anything coming out, and then or anything going in spring wise. Alright, so you can see what I'm doing here. I'm just running around. It doesn't have to be too neat for me. This portion, it's just sort of closing in what's in there. And the front edge, I'm actually going to wrap it around. So the leading edge of the seat, that will be wrapped around, and I'll continue all the way across. I forgot to mention, this is really good beer weather, so nice and hot, dry, windy. Nothing better than a cold beer for a parched mouth. So I'll make light work of this, and I'll probably do the other one as well. You know, do two things at once. And now I'll sort of speed along a bit, and I suppose I'll just bring you back. Alright, just a quick one, just going to show you that, you know, there it is. Just fix that up a little bit. And it's all curled around on the front edge here, so that softens that metal, starts to soften it up. And I sort of pull it all fairly tight, and I'll probably throw a stitch through there as well. So homemade darning needle or baling needle, just a piece of wire, and I just trim the end up, knock that, put a bit of tape over the front edge, and away you go. and you can shape it to however you want. So I just adjusted this one. The piece of metal is around that thick, so I just adjusted it so I could just bring it straight through at that point every time. And if you had a different size metal, you could just bend it and do it like that. Or if you had a long piece to go through, a shank, you could just make it straight. So that cost me absolutely zero. I think that was $2 and I'm probably only going to use half the roll. So, and the bag was free, so you do the maths. Alright, I'll probably get started on this one now. Okay, so I'm in the spare room now. And so I've got the tops on these, and that's the seat back, and this is the seat base. So what I've got is a multitude of different offcuts of vinyl that I picked up just recently. I think I showed them in another video. So got a bit of grey there, some more white, and this is some piping that I did for some previous stuff. There's a seat base that I've done for another car that I've got. That's leather. So the seats are down there, and there. Steering wheel, leather covered steering wheel as well. All hand stitched, of course. So yeah, door cards, all leather. I've got a heap of leather up here, offcuts. I bought a couple of hides, and it's a very unusual green, so I've got that as spare. I'll probably do something with that. That's an instrument cluster. This is an instrument cluster of another vehicle. That's nice. That's my other standard 10. And I rebuilt all of this. This was all smashed. So what I did is I I'll go over here. I used the handy wipes that you have in your kitchen, and I used fiberglass resin, and I basically made a lamination, and came out perfect over here as well. And all of that, all of this, and then spent about, I'm not sure how long, but a long time sanding it all back, and there it is. It's ready to go in the car. But anyway, I'll put that to the side now. The main focus of this now for me is to work out what's going where. So I've got 2 seats to cover and 1 seat back. So, sorry, 1 seat base, the outside of it, the top of it. Then you've got the seat back and around it and behind it as well. So what I've got to do now is work out how I can incorporate that stuff from the old couch with this stuff to come up with something that'll cover all of this and be uniform. So I'm thinking maybe bringing this up, and there's a fair bit of bulk, as in space, so I think if I find the good stuff, I could probably do 3 wide sections and then inlay black and then maybe white piping, so there'd be something like that. This is probably a bad example because this little bit here is no good, but
give you an idea, something like that. I think that'll work out alright. Now the bus is blue, so grey goes with blue. Do I use grey piping? Not too sure. And I've got brown as well. The brown does match the primer that it's in now, but I've got a feeling towards the end of this build the bus will be predominantly blue and there'll just be patches of the primer left, so brown's probably not a good colour. I like that. I like the grey too, so there's not a lot of white, and they're two different whites, so they're slightly different colour and texture too. So, oh, and I've also got a lot of this green. I could probably work that in somehow. This is nice, as I said, nice leather, and green goes with the black. The green's nice with the black, and the white goes with that as well. So where to go, not sure, but I'm sort of constricted by what I have in front of me. So this build is going to be quite cheap, so the idea is to get away with it as cheap as possible. I think I'm about $22 in so far with these seats. That's buying this stuff. So, you know, if I'd waited 2 hours and not bought this, I would have found this and I just would have covered it with that. But anyway, I've got that, so I'll just continue forward and I'll rack my brain and I'll bring you back. Alright, so I've spent about 2 hours trying to sort out my old sewing machine. This is an old German sewing machine. I believe that is the year of manufacture, so 1952, and sorry, this lens. Yeah, so 1952, and I haven't used it for a while. So I finally got it to work. So I'm going to go ahead and make the piping. I've cut out a lot of the vinyl that I need for the seat top. So I'm going to go with a black strip and then the leather, and then a black strip, and then a white strip, and then a black strip, and then the leather, and then a black strip. It's just going to look like 2 seats, not 3. So that's what I'm going to do, and I'll bring you back.